short break, and like I said earlier on today, we're here to inspire you and to uplift you, to uplift your faith, your soul. You know, I know there's so much going on in the country. We're going through a pandemic, and now we're going through everybody at the moment has a remedy. Everybody has some advice. So much confusion is going on, and of course, so many questions are ongoing. But again, can we just be positive for once? Must we always be negative? You get to your Facebook or your social media platforms, all you see is sad news, but then I'm saying, yes, we are at war. But again, only the positive-minded get to win these battles. But every time you're sad, just depression alone can just finish you. So today we are having an amazing guest in studio, and this person is not new to most of you. Most of you know him, Omuntu Wawansi. And he's been a great inspiration when it comes to news anchoring. And he has a story to share with us, and that's none other than Andrew Kyamagero, who will be joining us shortly.
Oh, yes.
And if you're out there and you have any questions for him, please feel free to give us a call. But what I want to tell you about Andrew Kyamagero, he just survived COVID-19, and all he says is this time around it was harsh. Yes. But before we welcome him on the show, I just want to share with you a few just to remind you what COVID is all about, when it came into Uganda, what's the current status globally, and what's also the current status in Uganda. So first of all, COVID came to Uganda on the 28th of March when a test was done from some people were arriving from Dubai and different parts of the world, and a Ugandan from Dubai was found positive, and that was 28th March 2020. And as I speak to you right now, over 183 million people have died globally. And in Uganda, over 80,000 people have been tested positive, and we have lost over 1,000 people in our country. Now, Uganda first registered its first lockdown on the 24th of March 2020 and a second lockdown on the 19th of June 2021. So at the moment, we already have all the 5 variants, and that is Alpha, which was first detected in the United States in December 2020. It was initially detected in the UK, United Kingdom. And then there is Beta. This variant was first detected in the United States as well at the end of January 2021. It was initially detected in South Africa in December 2020. And then there is Gamma, which is another variant, which was first detected in the United States in January 2021. Gamma was initially identified in travelers from Brazil who were tested during a routine screening at an airport in Japan. That was early January this year. And then the very deadly one, which is Delta. Now, this variant was detected in the United States in March 2021 and was initially identified in India in December 2020. Much as I'd like to give you the bad news that we are already having these variants in Uganda, again, I want to also give you good news that we can fight it together, and together we can win this battle. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Andrew Kyamagero here on GXP with us, and it's our very, very first time to have him here on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Flower. That is very amazing. I'm honored to be here on a Sunday. Usually Sundays I don't move. I am either church if we're dealing with Normans, and when the days are tight, that's when actually I come through here. But I'm very honored to be here. And yes, I survived COVID, and I can proudly say that you can beat COVID.
True.
Yes.
True. So Andrew Kyamagero, we've known you from the other side of the studios. I know we are still in the same building.
Oh, yes.
But now we want to know here on GXP, who is Andrew Kyamagero?
Well, I'm a father with 2 beautiful kids, Zaza, who is the girl, and Mandela, who is the boy, with 1 wife, Linda Kyamagero.
Oh, nice. Yes. I like how you emphasize 1
Yes.
wife. So tell me, when did you know, or how did you tell that maybe you could be having COVID?
5th May this year, I felt a little weak, and it was in the morning, but I gave it a benefit of doubt because I was overworking myself the previous week, so I thought maybe it's fatigue. So I slept off, and I took some paracetamol, but then in the morning I bounced back. I was better. And I continued with my work. Then we were planning a wedding for one of my friends, and the meetings were actually going on. But I kept, the moment I started to feel the pains, I started to take the wearing of the masks much more serious, because I wasn't sure what I was dealing with then.
Where were the pains exactly?
I just had headache and joint pains. So I went and I did a typhoid test. And it turned out negative. After a week, I still felt the same thing. And I was, now let me just do a malaria test. So they did there was no malaria. I was like, okay, now these are 2 weeks. The moment I was here at work actually, and I felt a lot of heat. The body heat was inevitable to just let it go. I was like, this is funny. Then my joints became more weak. Immediately I sat in the car and started to drive back home. By the time I reached in Tinder, the T-junction, I was I was really praying that I reach home. But I was driving at 30 kilometers per hour. So in case anything happens, the impact is not so bad. I dialed my wife and I told her I have a lot of heat, headache, and my joint, the pain is so heavy. She told me, don't come upstairs, stay down, wear your mask, sit in the back seat. And she came down. She had already called a friend of ours who is at Tamalago, and they said, here we don't have more beds, but drive him to Ugolobi to Paragon Hospital. And whew, we went there. By the time I reached, my oxygen level was at 96. I blacked out. So I woke up, I was on life support. Yeah, it was that bad.
So you just blacked out?
Yeah, when your oxygen levels are not stable,
yeah,
you go down.
Go down, yeah.
Now, that's not the most, should I call it, the most scary thing. The biggest scary thing about COVID is when you get into the ICU, you are alone. No wife is allowed there, not even your mother. No, you're there alone. So COVID is a personal battle. If you choose to fight against COVID-19, please take the measures seriously. Wear your mask, sanitize, because when you get in the ICU, even the doctors who treat you, you can't see them. They're all wearing white like astronauts. You just can't see them. You see them come, put in the medicine and the glucose, and they move. So it was at that moment that I was in my body. I could not even raise a finger, but just to wink, to prove that I'm still alive. But again, the other thing that is in there, the loneliness alone can kill you. And that's why I say that COVID is equally mental. You have to be very ready mentally to fight it. You have to have a positive attitude that I'm going to win this, I'm going to beat it, and I'm going to become triumph at the end of it all. So in me, I knew I was weak, the body. But I decided to remind myself about the clear facts I know. My name is Andrew Kyamagero. I have a wife called Linda. These are my kids. This is my father. This is my mother. This is my job. This is those facts I kept reminding them, because the drugs were so heavy at times you could have temporal amnesia. And I was there for 5 days on life support. Wow. And thereafter they took me in another ward and they treated me for for the days I was there. But every night, my dear Carlo, it was 3.2 million. So 5 days brings it to 16 million. But I came to a level, I asked my wife, do we still have money? She said, don't worry about the money. We'll get it, but just get better. When they put me in the other ward, I was weak. And I could not even speak well. And it was that moment, I remember it was a Tuesday. That's when I asked God, I said, I need this chance. I was that desperate. So when you get to the state when you feel like maybe the drugs are not working, maybe the body is not responding positively, maybe you came too late for you to be saved, I started to believe and I said, God, this is not what you said about my life, because Jeremiah says that for you knew me before I was even conceived in my mother's womb. I strongly believe I have a vision and a mission to fulfill. So I'm not going to die now. So I refused to die. And I started affirming myself that I'm going to be alive. And in that week, they were training my wife on how to take care of me when we go back home, because the hospital could not have a lot of people there. So she was trained on how to maintain me, my bedroom and all that. And fact is about COVID, when you get to that level where I was, you get temporal amnesia, you hallucinate as well. The times I could ask for things and I feel she doesn't hear me, but yet she has actually responded to it. Then you sleep a lot. I got worried at times that I had to call my doctor and I asked, like to me, I would just say, let me take a nap for 20 minutes, but it could go for, those were 3 hours. Yeah. But to me, it felt like just 2 hours or 10 minutes. The doctor then explained that when the body is recovering, it needs to rest. So yes, the drugs are working. Yes, you're fighting, but you need to rest.
Okay, so let me ask you, Kyamagero, you said your wife asked you to sit in the back seat and then she dropped you at the hospital. Yeah. How did she survive and how did the children survive? Because from your story is you kept feeling weak days before you actually, before your body eventually gave in.
Oh yes, true.
Yeah, like how did your family survive?
Now, this is what happened. I told you that the moment I got the first headache, I started to wear a mask just to be conscious.
At home?
At home, even at home.
Yeah.
And my wife...
But again, there's a point where you and your wife share a bedroom.
No. The thing is, the moment I started to complain about headache, she started to isolate herself. She's conscious. And that's why even when I came back home and I told her, she said, just sit in the back. Don't staring into the mabega. So the moment she dropped me at the hospital and she could not have access to me in the ICU, she went, took the kids back to their jaja. Then she said, now this is going to be us, for better, for worse. This is where it made sense. And that's where the battle was. Wow. Yeah. So it wasn't easy. I remember one time when she reached a moment and she just looked at me and she told me, you can't die now. I can't be a widow.
Actually, that was going to be my next question. How did this affect your family, your children? Because here they are, they're not with their dad. Yeah. Yet their dad is also struggling for health, for his health in ICU. Yeah. And then here is your wife trying to juggle between children, her husband. Yes. How was that experience? How did it affect them?
One thing was, I will say that my wife is strong because she told my mother when I was 4 days in the ICU. And that's when she equally told my father. Even my sister, they got to know the 4th day that Andrew has been on life support. The rest of the day, she didn't tell them. So for her, it was making rational decisions. If I tell them, so what? They are not doctors. If I tell them, they will panic. And indeed, when she told them, she says that they panicked. No, don't come. The doctors are taking care.
You know, like any parents, you know.
Just like any other parent. My mom started then to cry. And she was like, and that's why I didn't want to tell you on day 1, because by day 4, you would have given up. So she made the decision and took the kids to their jaja. Now, for her, what kept her strong, she kept praying. And she told me, I reached a moment, I think that was the 3rd week, when she looked at me and I was frail. My hearing had started to be a little distant. My speech was not as profound as it is. She got worried. That's when she told me, you must fight. I know we're doing the best, but you must fight it. I can't be a widow at my age. Then she would bring pictures of my kids and I could see them, but I was very sleepy. I was extremely sleepy. I could just go back to sleep. Then one day she made a video call with the kids and I saw them, and my son Mandela said, Daddy, how are you? I said, I'll be better. He asked another question. I said, I'm tired talking. Now that's what shocked him a lot. He said, my dad can never get tired to talk, but he's tired to talk.
How old is Mandela?
Mandela is making 6 years.
Oh, he's quite intelligent to tell.
He is my...
And
Zaza is making 2 years.
2 years.
Oh. Yes. So Mandela was scared that I could not speak for that long. That this is my guy. We always have this conversation. But again, from where I was, when you're weak, you just want to waste your oxygen talking. I just want to rest and sleep. So it affected him on the other side, that every time he used to ask the judge, is my dad going to be okay? And the judge kept saying, yeah, he will be okay, he's fine, he's a fighter. But at the back of his mind, and the worst thing, those days, every now and again when you switch on TV, the stories were about COVID-19. And there you are, you're weak. Am I going to be part of the statistics later? But I'll be very honest with you. What pushed me all through that was God's grace.
Amen.
It wasn't me.
So let me ask you, Kyamagero, did you get vaccinated?
Before I actually went in that state, I had had my first shot.
So could it be the cause? Because again, there is also the stories that if you do your vaccine without testing first, and by any bad luck you have
the virus.
COVID, it just finishes you off.
Now the first thing was,
what's your say on that?
I had tested first and I was negative, and I got my shot, but I think how I contracted the virus, after vaccination, the doctors tell us that your immunity system goes down by 14 days. Because now the vaccination is trying to take shape within your body. And I think it was during that window when my immunity was low, after the first jab, that I actually got it. So with the jab, I can't say, actually I think that the jab equally helped me, because with the medication and me having the vaccination within, they were quite fighting in there.
And there's so much fighting in your body.
Yes, and that's what possibly...
But how about this whole, can I call them the rumors or something like that about the current vaccine? Just the other day it was in the papers that it was fake. And then the next thing, there is, I don't know if you've heard about this, or this vaccine after 2 years, this and that might happen. So I don't know, did that at any one point worry you in any way or another?
I will tell you this, Carol. I'm a journalist. I go with the facts and the figures. AstraZeneca has been used around the globe, not only Uganda. And it's the World Health Organization that certifies this, and our regional and national, drug authorities. Whatever hullabaloo is out there, it doesn't make sense to me. Take the jab, wear the mask, sanitize, social distance. Let the other noise be in the background, because what we're dealing with, we're dealing with a very bad turbulence. So you as the captain of your life, you're in the cockpit. Don't listen to the noise in the cabin. Just make sure you land this plane of your life safe and sound. So yes, there will be conspiracies. Yes, there will be a lot of theories, this and this happened. Because once you get the vaccination, it reacts differently.
Yeah.
The reason why I was actually badly bitten by the virus, it's because my blood group is weak. I am AB+. So my blood group is very weak. Even just flu can take me down.
Can take you down, yeah.
So whatever, I call it nonsense. That is on social media, Simanyi words, that is crap. Me, I will tell you, my fellow Ugandan, follow the basics. Wear your mask, sanitize, social distance, avoid crowds. It's that simple.
So now let's go back to your survival.
Yes.
Your story. So the time you got weak, the time you got into ICU, and the time you got out of ICU, and the time you eventually recovered.
Yes.
How much time was that?
That was a full month and 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it affect you in any way mentally?
Yeah,
Did you get depressed at one point?
mentally, the third week I had temporal amnesia. I would ask for tea, and they would bring the tea, and then I would sleep, like I told you. COVID gives you a lot of sleep. I would slide into a sleep. And when I wake up 3 hours later, I'm like, Nena sabi chai. And it went cold, and they have to warm it again. So you don't take away the cup. You have to first show me that you just didn't take it in time. Then you hallucinate at night, or even during the day. I could see that my wife was taking my kids, and I woke up and I said, "Where are my kids?" And she was like, "Oh, they are there, judges." I say, "Call them now. I need to talk to them now." And she was like, "Just calm down." But you see, what helped her was that the doctors had alerted her in the hospital that the drugs we're putting on him are quite strong. So he will hallucinate, he will have temporal amnesia, but you bear that. Then the other thing for any man, when you wake up in the morning after the 3 weeks, you can't erect. And I got concerned. I said, are the drugs going to make me miss out on me being a man or what? So I called the doctor, and the doctor said, no, you shouldn't worry. Those will come back as and when you're recovering. So the recovery process is still ongoing. And it is tough, though, because at times I can still hear the beeps of the ICU of people dying.
That's quite traumatizing.
Yeah, but you see, you must be intentional when you're recovering. You must say that this was a war I fought and I need to go forward. Then you need to tap into your support structure, your friends, your relatives. My doctors were very supportive. Dr. Emily Bagonza and Dr. Chimboa Richard, they kept checking on me. They kept telling me, okay, now you're going to experience this, or don't worry about this, the chest pain, the back pain. So those became my support structure where I could tap into, and I bounced back.
Wow, thank you very much for your story, Kyamagero. And yes, we've had a number of people saying, COVID in Uganda. Well, we have seen it. You're hearing this from the horse's mouth. COVID is very much real in Uganda. But right now, we're just not fighting one variant. We are fighting about five variants. Yes. And each variant has its own effects. True. And maybe it's at this time, Andrew Kyamagero will have to advise us on what's the way forward for everybody watching GXP. You don't have to go through his ordeal. I mean, going through ICU, it's not only painful, but it's very costly. How many of us can afford? But what can we do to avoid all these costs and the pains, the trauma? Like you said, I've ever been in that situation at one point in my life. I was a teenager where I was extremely ill and admitted in one of our hospitals in Uganda. And every morning there was screaming, somebody's dead. And you know, you start to ask yourself, am I next? Am I the next one? Oh my God, oh my God. You know, you start to panic. So I can imagine the feeling.
That is the mental strength.
Yes.
If you get COVID, you must start from the word go. You must believe that you're going to beat it.
Yes.
Mentally. Your mentor has to be strong that I'm going to fight this war and I'm going to win it. Even when your body gets weak, you must stay strong and say, I am going to beat it. Yeah. At night when we were in the ICU and you just start to cough, oh my God, it's like it's a unison of choir. Because you'll cough for 40 minutes long with no cough coming out, but you just feel you need to cough. It was that bad. So those who get COVID, or who are suffering COVID, and maybe you're watching this at home, encourage your mentor. Be very strong. Think positive that you're going to beat COVID-19. But that said, we should avoid a lot of concoctions. Because me, in my entire treatment, I didn't take any concoction. The drugs they gave me and alkaline foods, plus the steaming. My wife got a lot of, you know, those leaves and whatever. She would put me in there for like 5 minutes, and you know, I started to have my airway well cleared. But this concoction of taking too many herbs, you don't know how far they will damage your other organs. It's risky. When you get COVID, one, have your mental strength so that you're going to actually beat it. Then follow the drugs they've given you. After that, wear your mask and self-isolate. Self-isolate, hydrate as much as you can. I know COVID takes appetite, because me, I was weighing 87 kgs and I'm now wearing 80.
So you lost all your 7, just
all the
like
7
that.
were gone. So appetite will be low, but keep hydrating. Keep hydrating. But above and all, avoid negative stories.
True.
Avoid negative energy. People telling you, negundia food. Try to avoid that. So for me, my wife knew it. She didn't tell me anyone who has died. It was until when I'm better, she told me, oh, your auntie died. I'm like, oh, sorry. But in that state, avoid negative energy. Just tap into the positivity you have as a human being. Tap into the positive energy the universe gives us. You see, once you think positive, the universe will give you the feelings that you're actually feeling about. And avoid visitors. Avoid. We have not had a visit at home ever since I got COVID. And we are intentional about it. Because you don't know what kind of variant they have. Me having survived the first COVID, attack doesn't mean I won't get the other one. So avoid visitors. Let visitors come when you have a big compound where you can sit outside and they have different seats around. And the aeration is perfect. But likes of that, avoid visitors. If you're a wife and husband, let the wife sleep in the other bed. Better still, if you don't have 2 rooms, let her maybe get a mattress and sleep down. But it's very imperative for you to self-isolate is to follow the SOPs, sanitize, wash your hands, wear a mask. But above all, pray.
Amen.
Pray.
That's very key.
When you believe in God, God gives you a second chance. At that state of desperation, when my body could not move as I wanted it, when I could not raise a finger, but just to blink to affirm that I'm alive, that's when I told God I need a second chance. I have so much going on. I can't leave these kids here. I can't leave my wife. I have a vision to fulfill. I have dreams for Muntu Awansi. I need to see them come true. So not now.
Not now. Yeah.
So I decided and I said this was not written about my life biblically. So I'm going to challenge this whatsoever it is. And my wife kept praying. My mother equally prayed. But it starts with you. How strong are you mentally to beat the virus? I'm
very sorry, Andrew, we have to cut the story short.
Oh, yes.
Due to time, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us here on GXP. And thank you very much for sharing your story with us. I'm very sure it's been a story of encouragement to very many people out there, especially those that are watching from their beds, from their homes, from hospitals. And maybe I'd also encourage hospitals, family, because when somebody comes to hospital, you become the family. Let's be as positive as you can to the patients. Be as positive as you can at home to anyone who might be sick at home. Otherwise, we want to pray that God's protection and healing power is upon you. And I'll leave you with a scripture from Jeremiah. Remember, only Him saves and heals, and Him who created you will see to it that He remolds you and makes you whole once again. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us here on GXP.